Hey there! Welcome to my first ever guide, which will be about Lucent Citadel Boss 1, Count Ryelaz and Zilyesset. And in this video, I hope to tell you everything you need to know to be able to clear this boss. For that, I will first tell you everything about the general mechanics in this fight, followed by specific tips and tricks for all roles, so for tanks, healers and damage dealers, for which I also want to say a big thanks to Kulkgin, Lilgabe, Tingletony and Minxin for helping me out, sharing information about this from their perspective. So now let's get into the general mechanics of the fight. As you can see, there are two bosses, Count Ryelaz, which looks a bit like Rokatimar of Lorkar, and Zilyesset, a new type of ad that looks a bit like a scorpion. And the arena exists out of two rooms with both free paths, and in between there's a mirror wall which doesn't let through any buffs or debuffs. And the major mechanic in this fight is called either Brilliant or Bleak Annihilation, depending on which side you are. And this is a time-based mechanic which is first cast after about 25 seconds and after that about every minute. And you can recognize this mechanic when pads on your side start glowing, and in the mirror at that point you can see one of the pads glowing as well, and this is the pad you will have to go to prevent dying. And to do this you have 12 seconds. Besides this mechanic, the boss will also spawn several ads, of which one bigger ad and several smaller ads on either side. And the bigger ad has to be taunted by the tanks. As you can see, at this moment I get a mechanic upon me, which is called a Bleak Luster Beam, and this is caused by the bigger ad and is called Brilliant Luster Beam on the other side. And it targets 2 persons per side and does damage to these players. And you can recognize it with the, as you can see, having the beam above your head and having also this small area around you. What you also just could have seen is that smaller ads were coming in. They don't do that by themselves, but in this case were pulled in by our healer as they are ranged ads. And they also had this yellow glow around them, which is a red glow on the other side, and this means that they are invulnerable, and the persons who have the beam can make them invulnerable by getting close to them and touching them, and from then on you can damage them and kill them, which is recommended as otherwise they will ramp up quite some damage. And also grow larger, as you can see here at the moment happening, which is not preferable as they will also increase their damage done. Lastly, both bosses have to be killed within 10 seconds of each other, because otherwise the boss that was killed already will respawn at 30% and has to be killed again. Besides this, the bosses also have their individual mechanics, which is for Count Ryelaz meteors, which spawn in 2 rounds and will target everyone. Those meteors have to be blocked because otherwise you will get stunned and will also take more damage. And on Zilyesset, this is the glass orb, which does a brilliant ray, which is a dot on a person and has to be out-healed by the healers. For tanks, I'll go over the 2 bosses separately, and once again I want to thank Coke and Lilgabe for sharing their experiences and also their footage. So starting with Count Ryelaz and also his mini, they both don't really do a lot of damage, but when Ryelaz does his heavy attack you want to block cast because he will spawn the 2 sets of meteors at that point, which you will either have to block or roll. About the minis, the first will spawn after about 15 seconds, and after that it will be, I think, around every 50 seconds. However, I'm not totally sure about that. And it will spawn either in the exit or entrance corner. Regarding Zilyesset, the boss itself doesn't do a lot of damage and you don't really have to block the light attacks, but will have to block the heavy attack. The mini, the Sharp-Arm Lightweaver, does actually do quite some damage with this Fury attack you're seeing, which is a cleave attack, which does more damage the longer it's casting, and you really want to block those because together with the ticks of the light attack of the boss, it might kill you. This phase requires some stamina management, so make sure to have sufficient stamina before this start, and you might also consider using Harmony to be able to regain some resources during this blocking phase. Also, one or two sturdy pieces might help you by reducing the block cost. Now on to the healers, where I first want to thank Tingletony and Minxin for their contributions. In our group, the healers have the task to drag in the mini ads. They do this by taunting the mini ads, and as they are ranged ad, you have to run hard to get them stacked onto the boss. This is what you see Tony doing here. However, be aware that these mini ads also do attacks on you, so you have to make sure to out-heal these attacks and stay alive. An occasional block can also help to prevent too much incoming damage. Another way of dealing with the mini ads is stacking the boss on top of it. This way the group can stay together, which makes healing easier. Otherwise, make sure to have a sufficient amount of stamina on Count Ryelaz so you can block the meteors. On Zilyesset, just make sure to have sufficient healing output so you can out-heal the additional damage coming in from the glass orbs. For damage dealers, there isn't really much to tell about this fight. It is mainly a single target fight, but your first priority should always be to make sure that the small ads are vulnerable and killed. So this was it then, my first ever guide. I hope you enjoyed and learned something from it. If you have any feedback, feel free to contact me. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up or subscribe to the channel if you would like to see more. For now, enjoy the new trial and good luck farming.